All right, boys and girls, welcome to the Squeeze Factor. Today, I actually have a chance to sit down with Keir of SUPERHEIST. Keir, how the hell are you today, man?
Doing great, doing great. How are you doing?
I'm actually fucking awesome. Well, totally tattletale on myself. We've actually been talking for like 20 minutes before we started this interview. So,
I was gonna act like I just met you now, but yeah, we have been talking and I've been enjoying it.
absolutely. But, you can't just totally sideswipe people with interviews. I feel like you need to know who the hell's on the other end of the line. Hey,
Yes, I agree.
I want to say thank you first and foremost for giving me some of your time today. We're just going to ask a little bit about you, a little bit about the band. I always like to wrap it up with a couple of funny questions, just 'cause that's my motto. 'Cause if you can't laugh about life, what the hell's the
That's right.
fucking point, right?
Can't take it all too seriously.
Exactly. It's like the Joker. Why so serious? um, so,
That's right.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. You play the guitar with Super Heist, yes?
Yes, I do. I have been for the past year or so.
Oh, that's awesome. How long have you been playing the guitar?
I've been playing guitar, God, since I was probably like 11 or 12 years old. Taking it seriously. Like I started out, like everyone else, trying all these different instruments, and then I finally figured out that I wanted to play guitar because all the, cool rock guitarists out there in the world, drove me to embrace that. So probably about to like 11 years old, 11, 12, I started taking it really seriously and just playing and got in a band when I was about 14, started playing live shows before I even had my driver's license. So something like that.
That's awesome. What other instruments are you versed in?
Um, I take guitar's pretty much the only thing I really play now all the time. I play, I used to play drums a little bit and a little bit of piano. I took lessons for years, but, I really only have time to do one thing now. So, I dabble in keyboard stuff. Like when I record, I'll play keyboards and things like that and bass. I played bass in the band for a while. But I just, guitar is my favorite. So I like to stick with that.
There you go. I mean, it's definitely different from what I've always been told. It's definitely different. Guitar is a different beast than slapping the shit out of a bass. So I mean, hey,
Yeah, it really is. We like with this band especially too. I went, obviously started off playing six strings, and I went, years ago started playing seven strings, and I gave that up, went back to six, and then, playing with Super Heist, we, all the stuff on the Ghost Social Dead and all that was all seven string, and now we're doing the eight string thing, so it's, super low and heavy and powerful. So, we're really looking to push the heavy guitar sound as far as we can.
that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with some heavy guitar riffs at all. Um,
Yep.
I, hey, I'm a sucker for awesome music, so that's all I'm saying. Um, when did you?
Yeah, it's like heaviness. Oh, sorry. It's like
No, no, no.
the heaviness of like a sugar type sound, but like
Yes,
with melodic, uh, hooks in the chorus, and
yes.
making it easy for the people to listen to and sing along to.
Not that I don't love those guys from Sugar. They're fucking sweethearts. But a little melodic is okay too.
Oh yeah, sometimes I know some people will say yes or no to that, but you got to have something that people can, remember and sing in their car or when they're at work, at their job they hate. They can pop in the music they like to hear, and it kind of gives them that, escape for a minute.
Amen, brother. Amen. It's one of those things I've always told my 15-year-old, if you don't mind me saying it, I've always told my
Oh
15-year-old,
no,
like, when in doubt, don't leave home without music. It's your escape
that's right.
from everything. And
It's gotten me through a lot of stuff.
absolutely, absolutely. You ain't lying about that, man, at all.
Yep.
Um,
It's so powerful. That's the thing. It's so cool about it.
okay, so you were about 11 and you got into your first band when you were 14. So ultimately you were kind of like in your tweens when you kind of knew you really wanted to take music professionally.
Yeah, I think, my first band, we were in the Bay Area, this band called Tribal Disco Noise. It was like, our high school friends and stuff. So we started playing, like, in that band, like I said, but we were playing all the major venues, playing with, the Machine Heads and the, all those kind of, all the bands around the Bay Area, Papa Roach, and we played a lot of shows with Papa Roach together, like when they first started coming up, and the Deftones and Incubus and, all those kind of bands. And, around that time, that's when I really started taking it seriously,
Mhm.
So I was doing that band, and I got in a band called Insolence. It was from the Bay Area as well. We would play around everywhere, and, same kind of scene with the bands, the same bands we were playing with. Every band that came through the Bay Area, we would open up for, in the major clubs and stuff like that, and at that time, we ended up getting signed to Maverick Records, Madonna's label, if
Mhm.
I'm sure everyone knows who she is. So we got signed to that label, and then at the same time, I was also traveling back and forth to LA, and ended up doing a showcase with a band called Earshot that was on Warner Brothers as well, and ultimately ended up moving to Los Angeles and playing with that band and recording, a record and doing some shows and stuff, and that's how I got my start kind of in the music world
That's amazing.
professionally.
That's amazing.
So I did that for a while, yeah, and then I played with a band called Scapegoat Wax that was on Grand Royal, the Beastie Boys label. A bunch of different, did that for a while, played with a bunch of different bands, played with Snot for a little while before Lynn died, which is pretty sad.
Yeah.
But, just met a lot of people in the music world and played with, toured and played with a bunch of different bands. And, I did that, I can proudly say, for about 10 years, professionally. So that was nice, So that was about it, and it's been, did that for a while. And then, I know we'll touch on this, I'm sure, in a minute, but throughout that time, I DW, the guitar player from SUPERHEIST, and I knew each other. They would come out to America, and, I didn't go out there until recently, but we would always talk, and we were good friends, and kind of always wanted to do a project together, but it's never worked out with timing and all these other things that come into play, so we had been talking for a long time, and, fast forward to the past year, finally got a chance to make it happen.
That's awesome. As we touched on earlier before we started recording, it's like the friendships that you make are like amazing because you never know, like, through those friendships, what else can happen from that. Um, and I think that's amazing. One more question for you, and then we'll just kind of go into about the band because, like, you got, like,
Yeah.
I'm just like mind blown with all the stuff that you've done. That's like like wow.
Yeah, it's been a fun life.
Definitely, definitely. Um, did you like, and this is a total rando, did you have any other ideas about what you wanted to do when you were younger? Like maybe, and I've asked this question of like everybody, mind you, like, would you have thought you were going to
Yep.
be like an astronaut, a firefighter, a policeman?
It's funny, like, I think about that, all the time, and I think that the answer that I say to everybody is the same thing. I mean, for me, it was very easy at an early age. I just, once I heard, I think it was, I mean, honestly, the true story is, a friend of mine had a brother who brought me into his room one day and he said, you got to check this out. This is, you see this. And so he's like being real secretive about it and everything. So he goes underneath his bed and he pulls out this box, right? And so he opens up this box, and inside the box was a picture disc, and it was like this crazy, record, vinyl record.
Mhm.
For those people that don't know now, I guess, everyone's making its resurgence, but some people don't
I
know
love
what the
vinyl.
picture disc is,
I'm a baby
So
collector, so I
anyway,
love vinyl. And yeah, no, vinyl is amazing.
yeah. So he pulls this out, and it's, and I, apologize for the language, but you pull out Wasp, right? It's Wasp, the band Wasp, and it's the album Fuck Like a Beast, right? So it's a picture of Blackie Lawless with the saw blade on the between his legs, and I see this and I'm like, my mind's just blown. I'm like, what is this? And he turns it on and plays it, and it's just like from that moment, it opened up a whole new world for me, and I started listening to metal and rock, and I just always knew that's what I wanted to do. So
Right on.
you know,
I think I knew I
My life
wanted to
has
have
changed
some form
forever.
of music in my life. Because if you remember, like back in the day, MTV had their top 10 countdowns for the week
Yeah.
on Fridays. I think I knew then and there.
Yeah, you just know. It's just that everyone has that defining moment when you kind of know what it is you want to do. And for me, it was never a question. And I never knew how I was going to do it or how it was going to come about. But I just knew that it was the one thing in life that I really enjoyed
Yeah.
doing. So, interestingly enough, fast forward to, I always loved bands, like Rat and, all of these, metal bands and, rock bands from the 80s. But I ended up, one of my bands that I was in most recent was a band called Poltrona. It was, once again got signed to Maverick. And we're working on a rap album with Ross Robinson. And our lawyer was doing a lawsuit with Rat, and basically he said, I'm going to this party and Warren G. Martini's going to be there. So I went to this party and, had a chance to talk to Warren G. Martini. We hung out and he told me some crazy stories. And, that was a big deal for me because I always listened to them growing up. And so that was pretty cool. It's like one of those like bucket list things where you're like, oh my God, like I was a kid in my room listening to this and now I'm, hanging out in my truck playing, our demos and stuff for Warren. He was super cool. And so that was, it's one of those things that make it all worthwhile. And you knew when you were a kid growing up, that's what you wanted to do. And then it ends up happening. So
Oh, yeah.
pretty cool.
Totally. Totally. So
Yeah.
let's kind of move into a little bit about you as well as you and the band. You mentioned that you had been friends with DW, and then you guys had said that you guys wanted to do kind of like a project together, which kind of evolved into being a Super Heist. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So what happened was, we were on constantly, he was coming out to LA with Super Heist originally, the band, and then, we talked about doing another project and, we kept wanting to work together over the years in the course of our friendship, but it just never, the timing didn't work out or this happened or that happened. So finally, over the past year, or so, a little bit longer than that now, but he came to me and said, hey, we're going to be coming to LA and doing a record at NRG, with Jay Baumgartner producing. So that was a big deal for them because, he'd always wanted to come to LA and do a record. And, so that's what they did. They came out, to LA and we all hung out and it was just like, a good time. And they obviously NRG and Jay Baumgartner, they've done, all these records there, Lamp, Corn Biscuit, Corn, Papa Roach, Wargy, Linkin Park, Incubus, No Doubt, the list goes on and on. 30 Seconds to Mars, all these big records there. So they were really stoked to be working in that environment with Jay Baumgartner.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a good experience. We had a good time hanging out and, the record came out, really good. And through that process, the record was, it was about a year ago, and the record came out, it did really well, But during that time, we were talking about doing, me coming out, possibly do a tour. And so that's what we did. He basically said, hey, you want to come out and do the tour with us? And at the time of my life, I was just like, yeah, I'll do it. So I think everything kind of lined up perfectly in a way to come out and finally get a chance to play together in this band, Super Heist, which, honestly, it was going to be their first few shows back after 13 years away. So this band was actually founded in 93 in Melbourne. So they decided to get back together and do this record. And, this was going to be the first, coming of that band after 13 years. And they were really popular in Australia. And, it was a big deal to come back and play. And the record, was number 3 on the charts in Australia, in the top 10 for 4 weeks. For the charts, in Australia. So that was pretty big, for fans to be able to see this band come back with a pretty, big record and a new lineup and of sorts, new singer and all of this. And I'm sure you can see the page and the history of the band.
Yeah.
But it was a big deal. So anyway, we decided I was going to come out and do the tour and I packed all my stuff up and went to Australia and did the tour, and we've done, 2 tours so far.
Yep.
And the reception has just been, the reception's been amazing. But getting back to what you were saying is like, DW always wanted to do something, and this just ended up working out. For some reason, it was a serendipitous kind of thing
Yeah.
where, after all these years, talking, trying, and all of a sudden it's worked out. So
That's awesome.
you never know what can happen.
No, you don't. You never ever know. No, that's a conversation for later, in which we can totally continue. You never know what life is going to bring you.
That's right. That's right.
So wait, you, DW, John has had like an amazing career. I actually had a chance to interview him about a year or so ago. And then why am I brain farting right now? I really am. I'm
Don't
so
worry,
sorry.
I'm the same way.
You, John, DW. Okay, I quit. I'm sorry. I can't think of everybody.
Cy Durant and Ezekiel Locke, who's the singer. That was the new singer that came to front the band. And he's been in a bunch of bands that were really big in Australia, Full Scale, Mammal, Nerve, Overreactor. So it was kind of a big surprise, who was going to be the singer for the band, who's going to, front this band that had so much, status over the years. And so it was him. It was kind of, it kind of surprised everybody, but everyone was really stoked to see how it was going to come out. And Cy Durant was in the band before, years and years ago. And he came back. He was in a couple other bands, one band called Acid Wolf and In Extremis. It's a pretty heavy band. And so he came back into the fold, and John and myself.
You totally caught me drinking a cup of Joe. I'm sorry. I apologize.
All good.
I figure after having like a bunch, like talking a bunch, gotta wet your whistle. So I guess maybe kind of like another thing, since you guys have done definitely 2 tours recently, I kind of like to know, like, and I do ask this kind of question because it's one of those things that lets people know that, rockers are definitely real people too. Do you guys play any fun hijinks on like any of like the members in the band, or any of the members that you might have gone with other bands like on tour, like any tour hijinks? Who does the cooking when you guys are on tour?
Oh my God, yeah. So that's an interesting thing. So we're all pretty fun, loving group of people. The good thing about this band now is that everyone's professional. Sometimes you have members in bands, or this or that. But the great thing about the members in the band now is everyone has their own, place and their own part, and everyone's very professional. You don't have to deal with a lot of the BS you got to deal with in some other bands. But we're still like to go and have a good time and laugh and joke about stuff. And, as far as the cooking goes too, DW is a strict vegan,
Okay.
as is his whole family. And so, we're always on the hunt for, I usually hang out with him when we're on tour, and we're always on the hunt for the best, usually it's Mexican food, but yeah, we always have to find, a place that has a decent vegan menu, which is, not always the easiest.
No, definitely.
But I end up hanging with him because we usually hang out together. But, that's the one of the fun parts.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, I was just I think I was asking more like about hijinks, because like I've heard when I've done interviews where they have actually gone to another band's bus and filled it up with balloons, like literally from like head to toe.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I wish we could do some of that, like, Motley Crue-esque type, like, filling the stage foam and all that kind of stuff, or like, like those kind of things. We should put that on the list of things to do for any other shows we do.
Or
because the bands we play with definitely deserve it, and they would laugh it off, which is pretty good. I think that's the cool thing. Everyone has to have a sense of humor, but all the bands we play with definitely would be able to take a joke like that. But we'll have to put that on the list of things to do.
Or what was it? I had a chance to interview one of
maybe it's all their beer being drank by us probably, or something. That's like the extent of the hijinks.
one of Bruce Dickinson's youngsters, last year. Uh, nice young man. Oh my gosh. Super amazingly nice young man. His, tour prank was he had this funky, like, Halloween mask where he would put it on stage and just kind of, like, pop up and just kind of mess with everybody.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. That's a good one. You know, our live show has been pretty exciting. So I think, I guess that's kind of considered, you know, an event, is because whenever we play, you know, it's an exciting live show, and Zeke, our singer, will definitely, you know, give it his all. He's out in the crowd more than he's on stage usually. You know, atop a staircase, or whether it's a barrel or a table or a bar or whatever it is, he's out, you know, getting the audience involved and
I love
making
that.
them feel, you know, like they're part of something bigger than just a regular performance, you know, which I think is great. It kind of breaks down a lot of barriers for people, you know, in the crowd, and
It does. You're totally right about that.
he seems like he's able to win over pretty much the hardest person in the crowd, you know,
You were very right about
just
that.
due to the fact that he's
I think
out
it's
there in their
amazing.
face. And yeah, it is. And, you know, it's really something that to behold, I think, and that's one of our major strengths.
I think that's going to be something I'm going to look forward to when you guys bring a new tour back stateside. So that way, when you guys get to Chicago, I can come hang out with you and bring you food.
That's right. That's what we're
Although
looking forward to, hopefully soon in the near future.
I'll have to bring I can do it. I can bring a soy version and a regular version. I can do that. I know
Yep,
I can do that.
that's
Yep.
right.
I got it. Total 8x8 just for DW. I'll bring you guys homemade food. All good.
Awesome. We're ready for it.
Definitely. So, okay. New music. Let's talk a little bit about new music.
So yeah, basically the album came out, you know, we did the tour for Ghost of Social Dead, and after that, you know, once you've been together for a while, a few more songs, started writing songs for another record, obviously, that, you know, at some point, and we ended up releasing a AAA side, with 3 songs on it. Basically it was, you know, we started writing the songs with 8 strings. It was really sounding heavy and big and good. So even though the record wasn't finished and ready to be recorded yet, you know, these 3 songs kind of demanded to be released just to give people a taste of what's to come. So put that out, and you know, there's 3 songs on that. It's got a lot of good feedback from those songs, and just been writing the new stuff. There's about 20, you know, plus songs ready to go right now. As far as recording it, you know, last album was done in LA, like I said, you know, by Jay Baumgartner, and I think after that experience, it's led itself to be known that the band should be mixing and engineering everything the next record themselves. So I think that's what's going to be happening for the new record. DW is going to do it, and just get it going. You know, like I said, there's about 20 plus songs ready to go. It's just a matter of picking songs to do and get the recording process done.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's, yeah.
Yeah. I'd have totally spaced out because I totally cut you off. I didn't mean to. I apologize. Not intentional. Not intentional,
All
I
good.
promise. What other stuff would you want to go over, like, about, like, the band?
Well, I just, you know, like I said, you know, it's been an interesting, you know, situation for me being from America and going out there and being the only American in the band. And, you know, had nothing but great reception from Australia. You know, the fans are amazing. The people are amazing. You know, I mean, I couldn't believe what the reception was like there, for the band, and just what positivity, you know, came through, from not only, you know, the audience, but the band, all the bands we played with were just so great. And, you know, they really put it all on the table when they're playing out there, and it really comes through in the performance, and the audience gives it their all, and they're into the music, and they're supporting the bands. And I think that's, you know, that's pretty cool. So, you know, I can't wait to get the band out to the States and see how it is here. But going forward, there's, you know, just working on the new record, and in February there might be a tour with POD and 12 Foot Ninja out there.
That's awesome.
Just waiting to hear back on that. And, you know, the interesting thing for me is, you know, as you know too, probably being in the U.S. and touring, you could be playing almost every night of the week, traveling state to state to state. There, a national tour is almost like 5 to 6 shows. So
Wow.
that's all it is. Yeah, it's a big country, but there's the venues just aren't there to play as much as they are here. So like I said, you could bounce multiple trips across the country playing shows, and they're all great, but it's a lot different in the United States. But I think it's a good thing though, because then people come out and really people want to see you if you come to their town. People will vie for you to come to their town on Facebook or wherever. Say, hey, please come play, wherever, and that's kind of fun to have people trying to get you to come play their town.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Definitely.
yes, there's going to be new music in the new year coming out. It's going to be heavy, banging music, guitars, some hooks, hopefully, I'm sure, in the songs.
Definitely.
And it's going to be heavy. It's going to be good, and we're just waiting to see what's going to happen with the tour out there, and then try to get the band out here, and just keep playing.
Yay. I'm excited. I'm excited for you.
It should be cool. Yeah, it's exciting, It was a cool thing to experience, and I can't wait to see what happens going forward. And luckily enough, we were able to do, like I said, I don't know, people should check out the videos on, there's a SUPERHEIST TV channel on YouTube. And like I said, we filmed a couple videos in Australia when I was there, a couple live videos, and, one video that we did, on location, and they came out great. So I hope everyone can check those out, and get a feel for the band,
Yeah, definitely. And so, like, whomever might be tuned in right now, well, they're going to be tuned in later when I go to play the show.
Hopefully.
No, they will, because I do quite a bit of, I do quite a bit of, adverts and stuff like that. I post,
Yeah.
like, when I go to, I post a lot. It's all about that social
Cool.
media. And
it is. In this day and age, I think that's one of the things we learned, just touching on that for a second. It's like, it's all about the social media now. The climate has changed, so you got to be really, really present and make sure everyone knows what you're doing and get it out there for people to experience and enjoy,
organically, just like posting it everywhere is like the more people who see it.
It's cool because it makes, for the fans, you get so close to the bands now. It's like back in the day, and for better or for worse, back in the day, maybe bands were untouchable in a certain sense, and that lended itself to the mystery. But I think now it's cool because you can put so much stuff out there content-wise for people to enjoy. And if you're a fan of the band, like there's no better time than now to be able to experience what's happening. I mean, you get photos and updates and, all that stuff. It's really a great thing, I think.
I believe you're right. And kind of like touching on that a little bit, SuperHeist is available for social media on Facebook, and I believe that's /SuperHeist.
Yep.
Or you can put SuperHeist into the search engine on Facebook. The band has also got a website. They are on YouTube. If you go on Instagram and search SuperHeist and just kind of put that like in the little search engine, you can follow the band there and look for kind of like tour intakes, little thoughts. I know I did that myself earlier because I'm like catching up on all my who I need to follow so that way I can keep up with the who's and the what's and the new music and things like that. Music is definitely available for download. I believe it's on Amazon. I totally need to look at that one more time.
On Spotify and Apple Music and all that stuff. So every format you can reach out and get it somewhere.
But hey, I like to ask because you and I have been talking for quite a bit, and that's okay because I've actually enjoyed every second of this conversation.
Oh, me too.
Like, I'm going to kind of like maybe start to close out the interview because you know what, for you it's about 2 and it's still probably lunchtime. You might actually have a bunch of stuff to do. So it's kind of like maybe think about like winding this down so that way you can get your stuff done. Especially because you're 2 hours behind me. I hate to interrupt people's like I hate interrupting people's days sometimes, but then again, when you've had such a great conversation, it makes it all worth it.
Oh yeah, I agree 100%. We're just waiting for a big rainstorm to come in here, so that's pretty much what I'm doing.
um, if you could see the band cartoonized on one cartoon show, if you had the choices between The Simpsons, American Dad, or Family Guy, or South Park,
Oh my God,
which would you choose?
that's such a toss-up. If it was me, I would probably say Family Guy, just because that's the one that I like the most out of all those. I mean, if it was up to my nephew, he'd probably say Adventure Time or something, and some people would say Paw Patrol, or my pick would be Scooby Doo. But I think it'd have to be Family Guy because it's the funniest to me,
That's awesome.
the most
Um,
relevant to me, I guess.
I've heard like a lot of people don't really choose a lot of the other ones because they usually
The
choose
Simpsons
like,
are awesome though too.
yeah, I've only had like one person I think choose The Simpsons and that was it. And let me see.
Yeah.
My last question was, oh, okay. So I generally, like with every interview I do, I always give a chance to flip the tables and give you, the interviewee, a chance to be like the interviewer. So if you were to ask a couple questions, what would you want to ask? And I will answer them.
I won't put you too much on the spot, I guess, but
You totally
I guess
can. You're fine.
what got you into music originally? Like, what are some of your favorite bands, or what was like your defining moment of saying, this is what I'm into and this is what I want to do, and
Like
you
a
know,
lot of people who know me as like, before I got into DJing and before I got into music completely, a lot of people who actually know me know that I would have to say my defining moment of going to a show and getting a chance to like actually just like see stuff. And like, even though I was 10 years old, and I
right,
went to the Bon Jovi homecoming tour in Trenton, New Jersey, and that was a school night.
amazing,
It was a school
amazing.
night. Sam Kinison was still alive.
That is crazy.
Yeah, Sam Kinison was still alive. I think that was one of like my definite defining moments. I think like after that, when I started getting a little bit older and I had the chance to like, when I moved into like my early 30s and stuff like that, when I had a chance to like actually, walk up and shake hands, uh,
Yeah,
after I started DJing and stuff like that, when I got like a chance to like, go backstage, go in the pit and okay, so here's these guys from Cabo and oh my God, they're freaking amazing. Nicest down to earth bunch of fuckers you'll ever meet on the face of this earth. Um,
yeah,
they hung out with us and drank beers. I was like, okay, cool. I can do
that is
that.
so cool. Yeah,
And
you
then
can't beat that. Yeah,
watching my boss, like, with his little handheld recorder and he's interviewing a couple guys. I'm like, dude, I can fucking do that.
yep. That's the greatest thing, I think, seeing, I totally identify with that, seeing your first band and being like, wow, this is what I want. I think mine was like, the first real concert I went to was like Night Ranger or something, but I think that was it. Yeah, Night Ranger. But I remember seeing that and, staying up every night with my, assortment of recordings of Headbangers Ball, and I would watch every single moment, just thoroughly,
Yeah.
enjoying every second of it. And you just know that's it. It's magic.
I think knowing that I was going to do something with media, music and
Yep.
writing was like one of those things I kind of knew at an early age.
Yep.
So like, fifth grade, going to a show and then like, watching music, listening to music has always been something that's
Yep.
always been like, it's your happy space.
And it's so great you can put the two together as well. I mean, that's the coolest thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I'm all for it.
Anything else you want to ask? Totally, the floor is yours.
No, I think that's pretty much covered it. We're just, trying to get these songs done and work on the next record and hopefully get on another tour and bring the whole show out to the States at some point.
Yay.
Working on that and, just trying to have fun and enjoy life. So I think that's, hopefully people will be able to take a look at everything on one of the formats and get a taste of what SUPERHEIST is.
Definitely. Definitely. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. I want to make sure I said thank you so much for all of your time today, Keir. It's been more than a pleasure talking to you. Anybody who's tuned in, make sure to go on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you're internet savvy or you're not internet savvy or you just want to play like you're not internet savvy, but you really are, definitely do a quick Google search and check the band's website. Keep up with all these guys. We got new music that's getting ready to drop as soon as it's engineered and mixed and recorded properly recorded properly. And just keep an eye on these guys because there's big things coming and you don't want to fucking miss it. Cheers, thank you. Hello?
Yep, here, sorry.